And the first item on our agenda is our call to order and then our trustee roll call. So Christy Kimball. Here. John.
Here.
Chris. Here. Sharon here. Sonia. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the approval of this evening's agenda. And do we have anything we're going to pull from the agenda? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So item E.
Item E, 2E. We're pulling that item from the agenda. All right. Do I hear an approval for the remainder of the agenda?
I move to approve the remainder of the agenda.
Okay, second? Okay, John and Sonia, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. The next portion of our agenda is our communication section. And this is, for those of you who haven't been to a meeting previously, these are our meeting norms and our meeting guidelines for running our meetings. And it includes not only the board members, but the audience. That we'd like to have everyone adhere to these meeting norms if possible, so that we can get our business done. So if anyone needs a copy of those meeting norms or guidelines, I'm happy to see if we can get a couple of copies to pass around. All right. The next item on our agenda is oral communications, and this is the portion of the meeting where the public has an opportunity to speak to an item not on the agenda. And I'd just like to remind everyone that although you're given this opportunity to speak to the board on an item not on the agenda, we can't discuss items that aren't on the agenda, and we can't take any action on items that aren't on the agenda. And we prefer that people, if you have a comment to make regarding something that's on the agenda, we prefer that you make it during that portion of the meeting. So can I see the hands of people who would like to speak during this portion of the meeting? Just 2? 3? That's it? Start over there.
I'm Jim Collier. Pardon?
I was going to say, if you could introduce yourself.
I'm Jim Collier. I just want to let everyone know that I've got a video camera set up. I want to try to capture everything, but that's kind of an old crappy camera with a narrow viewpoint. So I'll try and follow along back and forth. I'll post all the raw, unedited, uncommented video on YouTube that anyone can see. Download, do whatever they want with. I just created a channel today, so I think you can find it at Board Guy, like BOARD. Even I'm not part of the board, by the way. This is not authorized by the board. I'm doing this on my own. And if that doesn't work, you might try searching for Ross Valley 2525. So anyway, you might, and I'll try to get them up tonight. There's this camera, so, and Brian put that camera. So that's a wide angle camera. In the future, I want to try to record all of them, or I probably won't be able to make them all, so at least recruit people, and hopefully get like a better kind of 360 type setup that, it's not, you don't feel like the camera's pointing right in your face, or a little more unobtrusive and inclusive too, so you can see everybody. So that's and any questions about that, by the way? You're welcome to talk to me afterwards. Okay. Thanks.
Are you pointing at me, Shan?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. I have a little speech. It'll take about 3 minutes.
Sorry, name?
I'm sorry. I am Heather Bennett, and my kids attend Manor School. Your Prop 39 demands have driven a stake right through the heart of this community. You can try to blame whoever you want for the outrage that you all now encounter throughout this community, but the fact is that you have brought this upon yourselves with your greedy and increasingly outrageous demands. So I stand before you again to say, rescind your Prop 39 demands. Stand has a petition with almost 1,500 signatures from community members asking you to rescind your Prop 39 demands. 1,500. We want this building back for our 6th grade students. It's also well past time for you to give up your fantasy of Red Hill. From what this community has seen of your highly litigious nature and your entitled demands, I can well imagine there is no way this community or this district would ever entertain Red Hill for you again.
I
Ever.
don't feel like this is the
No.
way.
I'm gonna make a
Yeah.
point and I have 3 minutes. Let's not forget that we did entertain it previously and you rejected it. It was nothing short of irresponsible that you proceeded with your charter without having a place of your own to put it. Your typical complaint is our tight real estate market. So I will say again that you should have had a viable strategy in place before you went charter. But now I suggest to you this. Since you are going back for material revision anyway, request that you be able to relocate outside of our district boundaries. Yes, outside. Now let me be very, very clear. I'm suggesting this not so that you can Proposition 39 any other district. I'm suggesting this so that you may broaden your search area to find a facility of your own. Let me say that again. This is not a suggestion to Prop 39 any other district, because no doubt you will be fought on your outrageous Prop 39 demands anywhere you go. And in fact, I'll be very happy to volunteer personally to lead the charge. However, if you can find your own facilities, you will at least begin to repair some of the damage you have done to this community and to our innocent students. This community has been putting up with your self-selection, segregation, discrimination, and your inflated sense of entitlement for well over 20 years now. This final move of yours to be charter is to be an active part of the right-wing move towards the privatization and destruction of our public education system and our public commons. Alongside of the Koch brothers, Schwab, and Trump, this divisiveness and the damage you have done to this community and to our excellent, truly public schools is very real. But if you rescind your Prop 39 demands and you find your own space to rent from willing landlords, then maybe, just maybe, we can start to try to find a road to some sort of peace. The opposition you face isn't going away. In fact, the community continues to stand. In fact, we are standing stronger and stronger for our truly inclusive, truly public schools. So I say, don't just put the Bernie bumper sticker on your cargo bike. Actually live your values. Instead of building walls, choose to do the right thing for the whole community, not just what's right for you. You're all advocates for choice, right? So choose to remove this gun from the foreheads of your neighbors. Choose to stop hurting our children. Choose to give this school back to the middle school students who need it. Choose to rescind Prop 39. Choose peace. Thank you.
All right. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Matt Brasler, Agate Report. I had a dream about this meeting. I'm excited. I'm not anxious to be on camera. You will kill anything you're looking forward to. But I am excited for the meeting tonight, mostly because there's items on the agenda that we've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 months, and we can now talk about them. So I'm hopeful that we'll have some transparency and thorough answers. That is what I'm been here all along for. Question, if we can get a quick update on how the lottery went last night, vis-a-vis the conversation we had last month around setting aside spots for staff and founders' children, and how that plays in a role with the material revision that is on the agenda tonight. So you combine those two, because I believe the conversation last month was we had to have a material revision to do so. Secondly, a specific public thank you to Commissioner Kimball. It's a surprise over there, but it's in every public meeting that I attend. I always suggest full transparency, listening, and perspective from all parties and lots of different perspectives. And don't take this the wrong way, but for the first time last month, I felt absolutely listened to, full transparency, and appreciate your perspective that you did last month. And for those of you that weren't there, it was pretty benign, but there was some discussion around numbers of students in classes and the averages and how other schools dealt with classes. And rather than, this is how we see it, this is how charter sees it, this is how district sees it. We looked at all the numbers, they were facts, and we kind of went through this is how side A sees it, this is how side B sees it. And I wouldn't go so far as to say there was an agreement, but this is perspective, two sets of facts and seen differently. I just want to thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. So next issue, unrelated to that perspective, my perspective on the ROC, this may not be as appreciated as my last thank you. In my 15 years in San Anselmo, I have attended lots and lots of meetings. San Anselmo Town Council, Fairfax Town Council, San Anselmo Montessori with a friend of mine over here. I was on the Quality of Life Commission in San Anselmo, SABA, Wade Thomas PTA, all sorts of fun things. I was even on the Quality of Life Commission in San Anselmo. I'm also a decade-long member of the San Anselmo Planning Commission. So I'm used to tense meetings and even neighbors who love each other but hate the construction project they're doing next door. I know what a tense meeting looks like. These meetings can be tense, but I have learned in the last 30 days, since our last meeting, there's a group that I have not, and I am not, and I have not been invited to. And that is something called the Leadership Council, the Ross Valley Charter Leadership Council. I've just heard of this, didn't even know it existed. And what bothers me is in reading the agenda of these meetings, it became clear that a lot of the issues that we as a community have been asking in these charter meetings are actually talked about at these foundation meetings. So I understand these leadership meetings are kind of like PTA meetings or other in-house school meetings, but the existence of non-public meetings, that I'm not invited to, lead to the public perspective of a lack of transparency. And again, transparency is something that I continue to push for. This perspective of lack of transparency existed when several of you were on the Ross Valley School District and we were talking about MAP. And the big issue, again, about MAP was that MAP wanted to be self-governed and self-controlled. They didn't want to answer to the district, didn't want to answer even to the principal of Manor. So just please consider the fact that you have this allegedly non-public meeting that I'm not invited to. Just understand that. And that leads to my final point, which is another thing I found in the last 30 days. Unfortunately, I do too much homework. With regard to non-public meetings, I want to read an opening paragraph from a letter that I found from 2015. And please consider whether any of this letter sounds familiar or at all comparable to the potential perspective of the Ross Valley community with regard to the charter. It says, "Dear Inspector McBride," I don't know who Inspector McBride is, but we'll all find out. "We are writing to file a formal complaint because we believe